Dear friends, today we discuss second lecture of this subject thermal power plant. We have already discussed the introduction and site selection of the power plant. Today we discuss general layout of steam power plant. The syllabus of this chapter steam power plant, or you can say thermal power plant, is given by our university AKTU. General layout of steam power plant boilers including critical and supercritical boilers, fluidized bed boilers and others. Today we discuss general layout of steam power plant, right? So you can see here we are saying this is the general layout of the steam power plant. Here in this case you are seeing there is a boiler. This is the boiler. This boiler is well connected to the coal handling plant and cold storage. See, initially coal coming from the coal mines through road or rail network is stored here. From here coal is handled and prepared by coal handling plant, and that coal is supplied to the boiler furnace. After burning the coal convert into the ash. Ash is removed from the boiler through the ash handling plants, and finally it is sent to the storage, from where it can be taken to the dump point. When when coal burn in the boiler when coal burn in the boiler, it gives its energy to the boiler, where water is converted into the steam. That steam, friends, that steam goes to the superheater. From the superheater, steam becomes high pressure and superheated steam. This steam move to the turbine through the main valve, where it rotates the turbine. After giving its energy to the turbine, or converting the heat energy into the turbine convert that energy into rotary motion, and a generator is coupled with the turbine, which convert the rotary motion or mechanical energy into electrical energy. After giving its useful energy to the turbine, the steam, which is now wet steam, also known as exhaust steam, is supplied to the condenser, where it exchanges its heat to the cooling water, and then this heat is removed by the cooling water, and the condensate or the steam which get condensate. So the condensate is removed with the help of a condensate extraction pump and passing through low pressure heater and boiler feed pump, and then high pressure heater. It is supplied to the boiler through economizer. Friends, it is supplied to the boiler through economizer. Economizer is a place, economizer is a device where we preheat the feed water with the help of flue gases. So friends, here you can see, this preheated water is supplied to the boiler. Now come back to here. In the condenser, we are exchanging the heat of the exhaust steam. So every time we are using a cold water or fresh water, cold water can be taken from the river or canal, or we can use cooling towers for recirculating the cooling water again and again and again. Friends, when we burn the coal, we exchange the heat of the coal in the boiler. We are getting flue gases, and air is required to burn the coal. So air is taken from the atmosphere. It passes through the air preheater, where it get preheat, and then it's supplied to the boiler. And the flue gases, after giving its energy to the boiler, the flue gases passes to the superheater, and then economizer, then air preheater, and then these are passes to the chimney. So this is a general layout of the steam power plant. It doesn't mean that steam power plant contain only these parts. Steam power plant is a complicated unit. It is a complicated plant where more and more, almost all type of industries are there. We are using a water treatment plant there to treat the water, using in cooling as well as using in boiler. So the few important circuits are: one is coal and ash circuit, other is air and flue gas circuit, other is feed water and steam circuit, and cooling water circuits. Friends, here you can see this circuit, this first one circuit. We are seeing coal and ash circuit. Friends, this circuit is known as coal and ash circuit. Though we will discuss all these in the detail, if we are saying about the coal and ash circuits, friends, here you can say there is a boiler which required coal for burning. So coal is here. From here, coal is transferred to the coal handling plant, and after burning, it convert into ash. So ash is handled by ash handling plant, and then it is supplied to the ash storage point, from where it supplied to the dump point. So dear friends, it is not so easy to getting the coal from the mines. To supply the coal from the mines is not easy. We will discuss coal storage, coal handling plant, coal preparation plant, everything in detail. Also, we will discuss ash handling plant, ash storage plant, possible use of ash in detail. We will make separate PPTs for that. We will make separate videos for that. So here we are discussing in journal. In most of the cases, the coal available in mines is in stoker form, in stone form. You can say a coal is in a big size. So we break the coal in small size. So though in India we are not getting very good quality coal, there are total four quality of the coals: anthracite, bituminous, peat and lignite, out of which anthracite is best quality of the coal, while peat or lignite are the least, or you can say worst quality of the coal. See, quality of the coal is determined by having ash content as well as moisture content in the coal. In our notes, we discuss all these points. In case of coal, ash content in good quality coal like anthracite, ash content is approximately 10% of the total weight, while in worst quality of the coal, ash can be up to 53% of the coal weight. In India, we are not having large stock of good quality of the coal. So we are, in most of the cases, we are using pulverized form of the coal. Pulverized means coal is used in powder form so that we can burn it easily, right? So friends, coal from the coal mines is come in the stone form or in stoker form. That coal is storage in the coal plant, and then in the coal handling plant we handle the coal, we prepare the coal, and we transmit the coal from one point to other point. So here we are saying pulverized coal. So coal is converted into powder form in the coal handling plant itself. So pulverized coal from the storage area is taken to the boiler with the help of various coal handling equipment such as belt conveyor, bucket conveyor, etc. Friends, in thermal power plant we are using a large quantity of the coal. An example is given here. For a 400 megawatt capacity of the plant, we require 5,000 to 6,000 tons of the coal per day. And in coal handling plant, you can see, you can assume about the land requirement. In coal handling plant, almost we are storing the coal for 30 days. So we are storing the coal for 30 days, 6,000 ton coal per day. And here we are storing the coal for approximately 30 days, right? The coal is burned in the boiler furnace at a temperature of 1500 degrees Celsius to 2000 degrees Celsius by combustion, and after burning the coal convert into the ash. See, we told you that ash content may be from 10% to 50%, 55%. So if we are using good quality of the coal, let's say there is a 10% of the ash generation. So you can see in one day, for a 400 megawatt capacity, approximately 500 to 600 ton of the ash generation, and that ash can be removed from the boiler furnace timely, because if there is a large ash stock, then There is no place for coal burning or for supplying the air. So we have to remove the ash from the boiler furnace time to time. We are using many ash handling systems like belt conveyor, screw conveyor, etc., etc., etc. That ash is stored in the ash pit, the place where we are storing the ash, where we temporarily store the ash is known as ash pit, and approximately ash is stored in a thermal power plant for 7 days. This is the average time for which we are storing the ash for 7 days before supplying it or before dumping it to end use point. We will discuss the various use of the ash in other videos. So you can see a thermal power plant of the 400 megawatt capacity requires 10 hectare area per year if ash is dumped to a height of 6.5 meter. Friends, 10 hectare area per meter per year. So if we are not using the ash anywhere, or we are not dumping the ash, or there is no end use of the ash, so such type of such large area is required every year. So we have to find the use of the ash, and we have to use ash for various use point, for various uses. Second circuit is air and flue gas. Friends, you can see here, whenever there is a burning of the fuel, we heat the air. That hot air is known as flue gas, and that flue gas circulate along into the boiler, uh, and it give its energy, its heat to the water, where water get heated and converted into steam. After that, these flue gases or these hot air passes through superheater, where we superheat the steam. Then these flue gas passes through the economizer, through the air preheater, and finally to the chimney. See, these flue gases have large heat content. When they come out from the boiler, the temperature of the flue gas is approximately 250 degrees Celsius. We cannot discharge such high temperature flue gases into the atmosphere because there is a direct loss. So we want to use maximum as much as possible. That's why we are passing these flue gas through a superheater, where they give its heat. The temperature of the flue gas comes down, but still the temperature of flue gas is approximately 180 degrees Celsius to 200 degrees Celsius. Again, such a large amount of heat cannot be wasted into the atmosphere, because if we are wasting such amount of the heat, there is a direct loss of the efficiency. So we are passing it to the economizer. Economizer is a device where we preheat the feed water, the water which is feeding to the boiler for converting into the steam. So we are preheating this water. This water is preheat 5 degree to Celsius to 10 degrees Celsius with the help of these flue gases. So the temperature of the flue gases comes down, but still the temperature of flue gases are approximately 150 160 degrees Celsius. So what we are doing, we are passing these flue gases to the air preheater. Hence we are passing these flue gases to the air preheater. The air preheater is a device where we preheat the air which is used for combustion in the boiler furnace. The temperature of the air is atmospheric air, so whenever we passes through these air to the air preheater, the temperature of the air is rises approximately by 5 degrees Celsius, 3 to 5 degrees Celsius. Here the heat of the flue gases is again used. The heat temperature of the flue gases comes down by approximately 15-20 degrees Celsius. Then these flue gases are allowed to pass through various filters, various precipitators, to collect the dust, to remove the dust particle or any solid particle. Then there may be some more use of the flue gases, as we can use these flue gases to dry the pulverized coal to to remove the moisture in the pulverized coal. In winter season we can use these flue gases to heat up the area, heat up the rooms, etc. And finally, when there is no use of the flue gases, we allow these flue gases to chimney to discharge it into the atmosphere at a height. And air which is used for combustion, that air is supplied from the atmosphere to the air preheater. You can see there is a circuit, we are showing the circuit. Air is coming from the atmosphere, it passes through the air preheater and then it moves to the boiler furnace. So this is the gas, this is the path of the flue gas, this is the path of the fresh air. This is air and flue gas circuit. We are getting the air from the atmosphere, and finally we discharge the hot air or flue gases, waste flue gases, into the atmosphere. Next one is feed water and steam circuit. See, this is the largest circuit among all the four. Here you can see there is a boiler. In the boiler, I told you what we are doing. In the boiler, we convert water into steam with the help of chemical energy. Then that steam passes through the superheater. You can see in the superheater, that steam gets superheated. You know the advantage of doing superheating the steam. The first one advantage is that there is less chance of condensation. If we are just making the steam dry and saturated, and we are transferring the steam with the help of pipeline from boiler to the turbine, there may be chances of the condensation. So if the steam can be wet steam, it cannot be no, it can no longer be dry, and wet steam can be harmful to the turbine blades. That's why here we are using superheated steam. The other and most important point is that we are superheating the steam at constant pressure. So work done is the P into dV, pressure into change in volume. So by keeping the pressure same, if we increase the volume, or by keeping the volume same, if we are able to increase the pressure, we can get more work. So what we are doing here, we are just increasing the pressure of the steam. By keeping the volume same, we are just keep increasing the pressure, mm, and we are getting the more steam with the same, we are getting more work with the same amount of the steam. So after giving its useful work to the turbine, or after rotating the turbine, the hot steam, the superheated steam convert into wet steam, and that wet steam come outside from the turbine and it passes through the condenser where it get condensed, or you can say where there is a phase change. That wet steam convert into hot water, which is better known as condensate. So we are using a condensate extraction pump, and that with the help of that condensate extraction pump, we are removing the condensate from the condenser, and we passes it through the low pressure heater. Then we are using another pump which is known as boiler feed pump. That boiler feed pump supplying this water from the low pressure heater to the high pressure heater and send it to the boiler through economizer. I told you economizer is the device where feed water get heated. So with the help of flue gases. So this is the circuit of path of the flue gases, and here you can see the boiler receive the water from the economizer. So this is the feed water and steam circuit. Whenever we are passing this water from the economizer, it increase the efficiency about 2%. So friend, this is the third one. This is the largest circuit. Next, you can see the superheated steam from the boiler enter the steam turbine. The superheated steam temperature is about 600 degrees Celsius at a pressure of 30 megapascal. The steam expand in the turbine, causing the turbine blades to rotate. This is a superheated steam. After doing useful mechanical work on the blades and losing its energy, the steam become wet and the pressure of the steam become less. This wet steam passes through a condenser where it completely become water, the condensed water that has a temperature about 30 degrees Celsius to 40 degrees Celsius. Sometimes this temperature may be more. It is collected in a tank which is called hot water. The water from the hot water is fed into the boiler with the through the economizer. I told you economizer preheat the water before entering the boiler, and economizer receive its heat from the flue gases leaving the boiler, right? So next circuit is cooling water circuit. Water is circulated. You can see this is the cooling water circuit. You can say this is also a sub circuit which is used for cooling the hot steam or cooling the wet steam which is coming out from the steam turbine. Every time we need a cold water, every time we need a cold water, every time we need a cold water, and that cold water can be fresh water or that cold water can be reused water. If there is a large source of water is available, then we can use river or canal. Large source and fresh water, clear water, clean water is available, then we can use river or canal. But if clean water is not available, then we are not using river or canal. We are just taking water for one time. We are treating the water, and then we are using that water for cooling in the cooling in the condenser, right? And every time then this water is passed through the cooling tower where this hot water gives its heat to the atmosphere. And here we are just adding the water which get waste in the evaporation. This is a pump. You can see there is a pump which is responsible for circulation of the water. See, water is circulated around the condenser to condense the steam coming out to the turbine. Cooling water enters the condenser at approximately 10 degrees Celsius to 15 degrees Celsius and leave the condenser at 20 degrees Celsius to 25 degrees Celsius. Plenty of water is required for condensing the steam in the condenser. The water may be taken from the source such as river or lake, and it can be reused again and again with the help of a cooling tower. The various main component of the modern steam power plants are, you can see here: boiler contains superheater, reheater, economizer, air preheater, all the accessories: steam turbine, generator, condenser, cooling tower, water pumps, feed pumps, wagon tippler, crusher house, coal mill, draft fan, ash precipitator, various filters, boiler chimneys, water treatment plant, control room, switchyard. This is not a complete list. These are a small list, friends. We are using thousands and thousands type of the equipment there. Even we are using thousands of the pump there to supply the water and air continuously. So friends, this is our next video. So you can see, friends, here that here we discuss the general layout of the steam power plants. So friends, you study this, you see this, and you subscribe this. If there is any doubt, you can contact me or you can write in the comment box. I will try to solve your queries. Thank you, friends. Thank you very much.